Do you have a garden? Perhaps consider augmenting it with some edible wild plants. And in today's video, we have the top things you should know. Number 1. What are the most common kinds of edible wild plants in the United States? First on the list is perhaps surprisingly the dandelion. There's also the sunflower, wild asparagus, nettle, garlic mustard, wild onion, mulberries, wild raspberry and blackberry, purslane, and curled dock. Oh, and of course, there are also always wild mushrooms. Just be careful which ones you pick. Number 2, what are the benefits of eating wild plants? Well, if you're into local food, edible wild plants are perhaps the most local food you can get. They're also, of course, very cost-effective and likely have less pesticides on them, depending on where they're grown and what kind of produce you usually buy. But of course, perhaps the main benefit of foraging for wild plants is that it's a fun activity that gets you outdoors and engaged in nature. And number 3, of course, if you do start foraging for edible wild plants, you have to be very careful. There are many poisonous plants out there, so you should understand how to identify both the edible plants and the poisonous ones. Here are a few tips on how to tell if a plant is poisonous. Poisonous plants often have milky white sap. They may come with thorn spines or fine hairs, although there are a few edible plants with spines, as we'll see in a minute. They may have pods with bulbs, veins, or seeds, although again, there are some nuts and seeds that are perfectly healthy to eat. Another big tell, however, is an almond scent. This almost always indicates a plant is poisonous. 3-leaved foliage growth often indicates poison. Think poison ivy. Pink, purple, or black spurs on the grain head, foliage reminiscent of dill, parsley, or carrot fronds, and an intensely bitter or soapy flavor. So as you can see from this list, some of these items are clear indications. Others may mean a plant is poisonous, or it may mean it's perfectly edible. So, as I mentioned earlier, before you do any foraging, do some thorough research on plants on your area and know which ones are edible and which ones are dangerous. But now that we've covered the basics of edible wild plants, let's take a look at a quick case study. Sean Jardnisic has always loved prickly pear fruit. But when he heard that the cactus could also be used as animal fencing, he was hooked. As an experiment, the farmer and arborist brought a crate of the spiny plant to Wild Hope Farm in South Carolina to install it as a deer-proof garden fence. The little cactus quickly proved to be a huge success, and Sean was soon evangelizing the use of prickly pear around the Tidewater area. As Sean will eagerly tell you, prickly pear not only reduces the maintenance involved with fencing, but it generates income as well. You see, prickly pear is not only a great natural barrier, but a highly nutritious food. In fact, Wild Hope Farm sold about 15,000 worth of prickly pear fruit to local brewers and farmers markets in 2021. Now, you may not be all that familiar with prickly pear, except perhaps as a widespread weed in the Southwest. But prickly pear is a popular food in Mexico. It's added to salads, salsas, eggs, and can even make a mean French fry. Like many other fruits and vegetables, prickly pear has a wide range of vitamins and minerals. But more importantly, it's hardy. It may surprise you to learn that prickly pear can grow natively as far north as Connecticut, making it not only a drought-tolerant plant, but a cold-resistant one as well. Not only that, but prickly pear grow fast, store water in their pads, and improve soil health, making them potentially a key component of food production in a rapidly warming climate. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, prickly pear can store up to 180 tons of water per hectare, which is enough to sustain 5 adult cows. The organization also found that barley yields rose in the arid Tunisian climate when planted next to this resilient cactus. Plus, the prickly pear's fruit is tasty. Don't believe me? Why not pick some up and try making prickly pear jam? Or better yet, a prickly pear margarita. So as you plan your next garden or landscaping project, consider incorporating a few of these plants as a cost-effective, edible fence. But what do you think? Do you have any stories about edible wild plants? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? You're going to love our Gokce Land Due Diligence program. Check it out at gokcecapital.com/glad. And while you're at our website, don't forget to explore our $1 down listings at gokcecapital.com/listings. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.